we'll just settle our way in, find those sitting bones into our mat. Few big deep breaths in through our nose and big hot breaths out from our mouths. Just push it all out. Feel that tension melt away. Get rid of any expectations that we may have of ourselves and of our practice, and just do our best to stay in the moment as we move around. We'll seal our lips and inhale and exhale through our nose. And bring those thoughts inward. And inhale, we'll lift those hands up to the sky. Reach with the fingers. Drop the shoulders away from our ears. And then exhale, we'll just open up wide into cactus arms. And inhale up. And exhale down. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Chest open. Inhale up. Exhale down. Exhale down one more time. And then inhale, lifting the hands up to the sky. And now exhale, let's just bring them back behind us. We can hold our hands together or do our best to keep those arms going back toward each other. And then we'll pull the shoulders back, lift the heart. Hands go down towards the ground. We can even lift our nose a little bit. And then gently we'll bend those elbows, release the hand, bringing them forward. They can just rest on our knees. And we'll just come up to our necks and we'll just bring that chin over toward one shoulder and then over to the other shoulder. Gently moving side to side. Get some of those crackles out. Let's do one more to each side. And then we'll come back to the center and inhale, lifting the nose up toward the sky. And then exhale, just lower the chin toward our chest. Open up behind our neck. And then inhale up to the sky. And down toward our chest. Keeping our chin down here by our chest, over here by our collarbones. Just going to move the chin over toward one shoulder. Take a breath here. And then we'll slowly travel around to the other shoulder. And then just slowly moving back and forth as if we're drawing a little smile along our collar with our chin. Let's do one more to each side. And then we'll come back to the center and raise that head back up. Good. Now we're going to take this right hand and reach back behind like we want to try and touch the left hip with the tops of our fingers. Nice big deep inhale here, lengthen about as we lower the right shoulder, and then as we exhale, we'll just lower our head over toward the left. We can use our left hand to keep the right where we want it. Using that breath, let the shoulders relax. Do one more breath. Inhaling here. Exhaling. Feel that shoulder move away from the ear. And then we'll just gently release the hand. The head can come up to the top. And we'll move over to the other side. Left hand reaches back behind. Use that right hand. Lengthen on that inhale. And then just let the head fall over to the right. On the exhale, feel the shoulder begin to release and fall away from our ear. One more inhale. Exhaling completely. And then we can release the hand and our head will find its spot at the top. Let's bring those hands up to the sky. And exhale, let's turn to the right. We'll bring that left hand to the thigh. Right hand can find its spot behind our butt. Little twist here. One more inhale. Deepen as we exhale. And slowly we'll come back to the center. A big breath in, hands come up high. And we'll exhale over to the left. Left hand finds its spot behind the butt. The arm continues to support our spine to keep it nice and tall as we inhale. We exhale a little more deep in our twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale one last time. And slowly come back to the center. Again, inhale up. Exhale, let's hinge forward, keeping those sitting bones down onto our mats. Arms will come out forward. We hinge at the hips, lowering the chest down. And we'll drop the head, walk our hands back towards us. We roll our way up to the top. Inhale high. And again, twisting to the right. Left hand finds the outside of that right thigh. Lengthen on that inhale. Twist a little deeper on the exhale. And then we're going to take that right hand and bring it back behind our head. Just relaxed here. What we're trying to do is we're going to begin to open up on that side body. Keep that twist toward the right and then lower our shoulders down toward the left. Supporting our head with our hand as we gaze up toward the sky. One more breath. Lengthen on the inhale. Exhale, sink a little bit lower. And then we'll slowly come up to the center. Last time, inhale up. Exhale, twisting to the left. Our left hand finds that thigh. Find length in our spine. Deepening that twist just a little bit more. And once we find the spot where we like on our twist, we'll bring that left hand back behind our head and slowly lower our shoulders down to the right. One more inhale. Exhale, sink a little bit lower. And slowly come back to the center, maybe a little taller. Good. And we'll place our hands on the floor. We'll roll over those shins and come onto our hands and our knees, tabletop here. Fingers are wide underneath of our shoulders. Knees are underneath of our hips. And we'll exhale round into that spine for our cat. And inhale, dropping the tummy, lifting the heart in our cow. Exhaling cat. And inhaling cow. Just move with our breath a few more times, our own pace. Continuing to keep that softness in our spine. Let's do one more of each. Make it nice and even. Inhale, lift that tail, and then we'll find our neutral spine. We'll open up our knees nice and wide. We'll bring our toes together and we'll sink our hips back low. Chest will lower down towards our mat for child's pose. Nice wide-legged child's pose here. And then inhale, we'll bring those shoulders forward over the top of our wrists again, keeping those toes together, and we'll slowly lower the hips down toward the mat, keeping the length in our spine. And then exhale, we'll just rock backwards. And then inhale, tuck the tail, bringing those hips forward. And exhaling back. Forward. Hopefully feeling some openness in those hips. If we're working into the joints. And let's settle back, hips over those heels. For one breath here. Now do something a little kooky. As we come forward, our right foot is going to kick out a little bit to the side. And then as we come back, we'll replace. And then coming forward, left foot. We're going to keep that knee on the floor and just kind of corkscrew that foot out to the side. And then back. Inhale. Over to the side. And back. Good. Let's do one more to each side. Hopefully you're not hearing the pops that I'm hearing through my microphone. It's a little disconcerting. And back to our child's pose. We can release those arms out in front of us. Chest comes down. We can even rest our forehead onto the mat. And then we'll just slowly bring those knees in a little bit closer. Give them a little break. Then arms are out in front of us. Let's open those fingers wide, pressing each finger down into our mat. And then inhale up to a little plank. Tucking that tail, making our spine nice and long. Fronts of our hips are beginning to open. Exhale, we'll lower down to our tummies. Hands are under our shoulders. And now let's scoop our chests forward and then up on our inhale into a little cobra. And we'll press back to our child's pose. And we'll inhale up to that little plank. We'll exhale down. Inhale to our little cobra. And we'll press back to our child's pose. Good. Inhale up to our little plank. This time, we'll bring the right foot forward as well for lizard pose. Foot is on the outside of our hands. Our left leg is still nice and long and soft behind us. Sinking those hips down, lifting the heart. And then exhale, let's bring that foot back. Child's pose. And then let's come up to our little plank again. We're going to take that left foot now and kick it out to the side, lengthen the right leg, and we'll come up to a little side plank here. Opening up to the right, lifting those ribs up toward the sky, reaching with the fingers, pressing into this left hand as well. And now the right hand is going to reach up above our head, making a long line from our toes all the way up to our fingers. And then continuing the circle, we'll come all the way back down to our little plank. And then we'll exhale down to our chests and bellies. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. Now we can continue working on our baby cobra if that's where we're at, or if we would like, we can come up to a little bit higher cobra, keeping those hips on the ground, lifting a little bit higher. We will continue to press into those hands. Chests are coming forward. And then exhale back to our child's pose. Good. Let's inhale up to our little plank. And now this time the left foot will come forward into our lizard pose. And then exhale, let's come back, child's pose. And now up to our little plank, and we'll kick that right foot out behind us, lengthen the left, and open ourselves up for a side plank here. Stacking the shoulders, opening up that chest. And then we can, if we would like, we can reach that left hand over our head. And then continuing all the way around. down to our little plank. And then exhale, lowering to our tummies. And then we get to choose, as we always have a choice, our back bend to baby cobra or full cobra, or we could do sphinx. And then bringing those butts back to our heels, finding child's pose. Stay here for 2 breaths. Good. Let's come up to our tabletop. We're just going to bring the right foot or right knee and foot forward. We're going to sit down onto that right heel, and we'll come into our 90-90 kind of situation here. Hands will be in front of that right leg. Right foot is flexed. Take a breath or two. Let the hips sink down where they want to go. Lengthen in that spine, and when we're ready, we can begin to walk those hands forward into a bit of a forward fold over that right leg. And then inhale, we'll come back up to those hands. We'll begin to walk this left leg out behind us. Nice and long. You can find a spot, take a breath. If we find that we need a little bit of time in one certain spot, and then eventually where we're going is to bring ourselves up into pigeon. So we will come up off of that right hip. Square and level our hips. Our left leg is out long behind us. Our hands are there for support if we need. And then if we are happy here, we can stay here. If we would like, we can again walk those hands forward. We can come down onto our elbows if we would like, or we can come all the way down into a forward fold just over that right leg. Arms are out long. If we get to a spot and we don't like it, we can always come backwards just a little bit, find where we like it. And begin to deepen our breath. And we'll slowly Walk those hands back underneath of our shoulders if they are not already there. We'll tuck that left toe and we'll step back into a downward facing dog so we can pedal it out, wag our tails, give it a wiggle. And then lower those knees back down to our tabletop and we'll scoot the left knee forward and begin to set ourselves up for our deer pose on this side. The left leg is out in front of us, parallel to the tops of our mat. Foot is flexed, our right leg is tucked behind us, and our hands will find a spot right out in front of that left shin. Take a breath or two. And then when we're ready, and not before, we can walk our hands out forward. Again, much like before, we can fold down onto our elbows or all the way down over that left shin. But doing our best to keep that right hip from flying off into space. Walk those hands back and begin to wiggle this right leg out behind us. Take your time, use your breath. Let that hip unlock. Once we get out long behind us, we can begin to shift our way into pigeon, coming up off of that left hip. Right leg is out long behind us, but we're still bringing the right hip forward to meet the left so that both of our hips are even and level. I want to be hanging out and favoring one side over the other too terribly much. And then if and when we're ready, we can walk those hands forward, come down onto our elbows or all the way down into a fold. Deepen our breath. And we'll slowly help ourselves back up to a high pigeon. We'll tuck that right toe behind us and slowly step back with the left into our downward facing dog. Give it a wiggle, lots of pedals. Waggle in the back section. And now let's work on one side at a time. So we'll bend one knee really, really deeply and begin to lengthen the other, pressing one heel down into our mats. And then the other side, bending the opposite knee, extending that other leg nice and long. And again, one leg at a time. Last time, pressing down. Good. And then bending both knees, lengthening in the spine, pressing into our hands to pull those shoulders away from our wrists. Tummies are working towards our thighs. Like I said, knees are bended. Once we're nice and long in the spine, let's begin to lengthen in the legs and press those heels down toward the mat, in the general vicinity of the mat. It does not have to touch. But if we're working in that general direction, good. And then slowly we'll bring our shoulders forward into a plank. Plank can be on our toes or on our knees. We'll exhale, lower down to our tummies. Soften the feet. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. Let's inhale to an upward facing dog. So now our hips are up off of the floor, just the tiniest of bit. The only things that are touching are the tops of our foot and our hands. Hips and spine are working forward. Chest lifting. Bending the knees. Let's press back, child's pose. Good job. Kind of walk our hands closer together so that we're making sure they're coming straight out from our shoulders. Hips are just relaxing towards our heels. We're going to turn those palms up toward the sky. Wiggle the fingers if we would like. If we like this, we stay here. If we want to get a little bit more into our triceps, we can bring those palms together into a bit of a prayer and pull them back, bending the elbows, bringing our thumbs toward the back of our neck or the top of our back. Let's release those hands back down to the floor if we have not already done that. We'll swish our feet over to one side and we'll come up onto our bottoms, Feet come out in front of us. Give ourselves a bit of a wiggle if we would like. And then from here, we are going to roll up into our ball. We're going to rock back onto our backs. And give ourselves a little massage if we would like by rocking forward and backward, side to side. And then we can find our stillness, and we're just going to bring those knees into our chest and just gently hug them, hug our shins with our hands, roll around in our ankles if we would like. We're going to focus on one leg at a time. So starting with our right knee, we're just going to touch the right knee and just kind of drive it around in a little circle, moving that leg around into the hip socket. Go 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then we can go the other direction. And then we can hug that buddy in towards our chest, and we'll move over to the left knee. So just gently touch and guide it around in some big circles around in that left hip joint. Again, 3 or 4 times in one direction, and then we'll switch and go the other way. And then hugging both knees into our chest. We'll release the left leg down to the mat, and the right foot comes up to the sky. Just holding behind the thigh or the knee. Just urging that leg to come towards us just a little bit. If we need to bend the knee, it's completely fine. We do what's best for us today. And then we'll bring both knees into our chest. And we'll switch sides. Right leg can come out long. Resting it on the ground. The left leg lifts up towards the sky. Nice and long out in front of us. Holding behind the thigh or the knee or the calf and just gently encouraging it to come towards us. Come on, buddy, you can do it. And now let's bend that left knee. Right leg is still long. We'll hug the shin. Nice and tight. Knee comes in towards our chest. And then we'll release and guide it all the way across our body into a supine twist. Right leg is long, left leg bent and coming across our body. Left shoulder is sinking down into the mat. Our hand is out to the side. Then our right hand can be out to the side, or it can just barely touch. Just let the weight of our arm help guide our leg instead of forcing it down. Just guide it, remind it where it wants to go. Take big, deep breaths and envision that breath moving up and down our spine. Into our shoulders. then slowly we'll come back to the center. Bring both knees into our chest. And then we'll release that left leg, holding the right shin, hugging it tight, tight into our bodies. And then we'll release and guide it across into the twist on this side. So right arm can come out to the side, palm up, letting that shoulder melt in towards our mat, guiding that knee with our hand if we would like. And let's come back to the center. Roll up into our little egg one last time. Inhaling here, and then exhaling, releasing into our Shavasana. The legs can go out long, or if we'd like, we can bend our knees. Our shoulders are soft. Hands come to our sides, palms up. We close our eyes. We soften our jaw. We relax our tongue. We allow ourselves this time to just be. Expecting nothing. We begin to deepen our breath. We'll wiggle our fingers and our toes. And slowly bring awareness back into our bodies. When we're ready, we'll bring those knees into our chest, roll over onto our side. And then we'll help ourselves up to a comfortable seated position. Our eyes are still closed. We'll take a moment to check in with how we are feeling. After our practice, after a nice Shavasana, and from this point on, we are starting completely over. We have woken up from our corpse pose, fresh and new. Everything that has happened previous is in the past, and we can just look to our present. We bring our hands together and we give ourselves thanks for all of the gifts that we gave ourselves. And I am oh so grateful for you for joining me, for allowing me to help you through your practice, allowing me to be a part of your journey. I wish you all a very, very happy and fantastic day. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.